Jerusalem. Not only is it the holiest city in Israel, it is a bustling metropolis of shops, traffic, and people. Except on one day of the year, when all of that bustle suddenly stops. Why is this moment so important to the entire nation of Israel and all Jewish people worldwide? I'm about to find out. I'm in Jerusalem! Jerusalem. To many, it is the holiest place on earth and where 3 of the world's oldest religions began. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam all started here. What secrets can I uncover on these streets? Let's find out. Hello. This week, a journey into the seeds of Judaism.
And pass the cup.
Who believes in heaven? All right, ladies.
We have a ritual called awakening.
Oh, ow. Witches don't use sugar cubes.
Today we're gonna have a powwow.
Whoa, Nelly! What is all of this? This is the rock that Muhammad rose to heaven.
Whew. It sucks being dead.
When you say tablets, you mean the 10 Commandments that were given to Moses are actually sitting there. And I think I'm onto something.
Jerusalem. As you walk its 4,000-year-old streets and the ancient markets of the Old City, it's not hard to feel the history of this place. And for the world's 14 million Jews, this amazing city is quite literally the holiest place in their religious universe.
Now, I want to find out why Israel is so important to Jewish people, and most importantly, why it's so important to Jewish kids.
I knew I needed some help. So how could I find a young person to take me around Israel to become my religious and cultural guide?
Well, the producers put out a call on social media, and they found Catherine, this amazing 17-year-old who used to be in Canada. Her dad is a rabbi, and they now live in Jerusalem. And not only is she going to show me around, but she is also a documentary filmmaker, and she's making a doc on why Jerusalem is so important to her.
In the past summer, I did a film workshop called I Am You Are at the Cinematheque, which was Jews, Christians, and Muslims all learning how to make films together. And so that's why I'm interested in this.
Sounds like the perfect girl.
Hi, my name's Catherine Lef, and I'm 18 years old. I used to live in Vancouver, Canada, but now I'm living in Jerusalem, Israel. Historically, Jerusalem has been home to so many different religions and cultures over the past thousands of years. And spiritually, Jerusalem is mentioned in Jews' prayers several times a day. So to be living in the place where Jews pray towards daily is an incredibly spiritual experience. I love seeing tourists walk around and mesmerized at how beautiful Jerusalem is, and know that it's my home.
Watching Catherine's film was a great introduction as to why Jews hold Jerusalem so sacred to their religion. When I finally met Catherine in person, it was on the streets of the Jewish quarter of Jerusalem.
How come all the buildings, even the brand new ones, look exactly the same?
Well, it's the law in Jerusalem that all buildings have to have at least 80% Jerusalem stone on the outside.
Okay.
And we do that because it keeps it aesthetic. It's what makes Jerusalem so special.
Yeah.
Catherine explained to me how these buildings and ancient relics all lie at the heart of thousands and thousands of Old and New Testament Bible stories.
The most amazing part of Jerusalem is just how old it is. The city is over 4,000 years old.
But as a new Jewish immigrant here, Catherine explained to me that the most important place in Jerusalem for her and all Jews worldwide was this place, the Temple Mount.
So why is Jerusalem important to me? It's because thousands of years ago, right here, is where Solomon's temple was built, the holiest place for the Jewish people.
According to the Hebrew Bible, Solomon's temple was built 2,700 years ago as the first temple ever devoted to just one god. Before that, it was believed there were many gods. Catherine would show me part of her film that explored how and why the temple and Jerusalem became central to Jews through the words of this man, Rabbi Ken Spiro.
You often hear people say Jerusalem holy to the three great monotheistic faiths, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And that's true, but Jerusalem may be holy to Christians and Muslims, but it's only holiest to the Jewish people. The other piece of information that people often aren't clear on is what's the holy spot to the Jews. People talk about the Western Wall or the Wailing Wall, but that's actually not intrinsically really a holy spot for the Jewish people. It's just a piece of retaining wall built to support a platform on top of which is the holiest site, which is the highest point of a hill that's called Mount Moriah. And on that site, that's the holiest spot in the world for the Jewish people.
That's right. Under this gold dome lies both the remnants of Solomon's temple and the exact rock where it's believed the father of Judaism, Abraham, was called to meet God and sacrifice his son, Isaac.
So Abraham travels for 3 days on a donkey, and when he gets to Jerusalem, God says, this is the spot.
It was at that meeting between God and Abraham that God told Abraham that he had proved his faith by not questioning God's request. Isaac would be saved. God would then reward Abraham and his followers, the Jews, as God's chosen people, the first people on earth to believe in one and only one God.
Abraham says to God, basically, I choose you, God. I choose to dedicate my life and the life of my children and my children's children, the Jewish people, to one mission, teaching the world about the reality of you. So since Abraham chooses God, God, so to speak, chooses Abraham back. He says, I choose you, Abraham, and your descendants.
Jews also believe that 450 years after Abraham would bring Judaism to the world, the prophet Moses would then be called to Mount Sinai. He would be told of the 10 Commandments, which Moses would then inscribe on 2 tablets. Once those 10 Commandments, God's words, were placed in Solomon's temple, that exact location became the religious nerve center for all Jews worldwide.
In Jewish consciousness, this is the holiest, intrinsically holy spot, and the logical place to take what's the holiest object, which is the temple, and build it on what is the holiest spot in the world.
And the reason Jews feel so passionate about the Temple Mount and their biblical history is that they believe for 4,000 years they have held a unique and sacred responsibility to the world.
There's a great phrase in Hebrew we call tikkun olam, which is fix the world. To be a model, never to convert, not to conquer. It's not a Jewish thing to proselytize and seek converts or build an empire, but rather to create a working model of a country, of a people, of a society that acts in a certain spiritual, moral way that the rest of the world will want to emulate.
These Jewish beliefs have led Judaism to become one of the oldest religions in human history. But things have not always been easy for the Jews. I was about to discover these difficulties are the reason this moment has become so sacred to all Jews worldwide. So far on my journey into why Jerusalem is the most holy city in all of Judaism, I've walked the old city streets and met a Jewish teenager who's making a film about why Jerusalem is so sacred to all Jews. But most importantly, I learned that this place, the Temple Mount, where King Solomon's temple stood holding the Ten Commandments, is the most important place in their religion. However, due to the often violent tensions in Israel between Muslim Palestinians and Israeli Jews over the past 6 decades, access to the top of the Temple Mount, or the noble sanctuary as Muslims call it, has been off limits to Jews. Many Jewish people have resented this and feel the Temple Mount should be open to Jewish prayer. This has made Jerusalem a very explosive place at times. So how does Jerusalem juggle these conflicts? I met Noam Shalev, a TV producer who works in both Israel and the Palestinian West Bank.
You know, everything was born here. Judaism, Christianity, a major part of the history of Islam. And once we understand it, we can start talking about coexistence and peace and living together.
Talk to me about what the conflicts are like and how the residents function within these conflicts.
The problem begins with those believers who negate and decline the other's right to worship, especially when we're talking about a single, not too high a mountain called Temple Mount, which is sacred to Jews, Christians, and Muslims. And Jews and the Muslims are fighting about it bitterly, and each of them are saying, it's mine. Unfortunately, it's about 15-20% of the Israelis and 15 to 20% of the Palestinians who don't want peace. They believe that God gave them, respectively, this land, and it's theirs, and they don't want to share it, and they don't mind continue fighting.
Despite the sometimes explosive religious tensions, walking around the old city of Jerusalem was a far different experience than what you might see on the international news.
Now, I live in North America. I live in Canada, and this is my first trip to Israel. From the Canada point of view, Israel is quite dangerous. But I have to be honest with you, I have never felt safer. There's no conflict, it's quiet, it's clean, it's beautiful. What is the state of Israel doing to achieve this peace?
Israel is investing so much in security, both personal security for the citizen, national security, international security, more than any other state in percentage. The old city of Jerusalem has more closed-circuit cameras than any other place in the world. Everything is photographed. There are cameras all over the place, and there is a police control center with policemen sitting and watching all this footage. Would you like to see that?
I would love to.
Let's go.
Okay. So is it in the old city or?
Right outside. It's 200 meters from here.
Really?
Yeah.
Through one of Noam's connections, I was going to get a first-hand look at the nerve center of one of the most highly secure police zones in the world. Inside, I was to meet the communications head of the police force that makes sure that the old city of Jerusalem stays safe for all religions.
This place is actually the control center of the Jerusalem police. There's somebody I'd like you to meet.
Okay.
This is Mickey Rosenfeld, Israeli police.
How you doing? Nice to meet you. What we're doing here is we're tracking, observing, preventing, and responding to any incident that will happen on all different levels, all security-related incidents.
Mickey would show me how every holy site is under surveillance.
What I want to show you here, in fact, and what you can see in front of us here, inside the old city, 320 CCTV security cameras recording 48 hours constantly. Any incident that takes place, we can track, monitor, and open up an investigation and respond.
And I discovered just how tight their surveillance can be.
How close can I get?
You can get in with about face range.
Whoa. That's pretty tight.
Who's moving? You're going very close to see the faces of people if necessary.
Wow.
And the cameras were tremendously useful when there were terrorist attacks that were trying to penetrate inside the city of Jerusalem, which, as you can imagine, if there's a terrorist attack inside Jerusalem, it can affect the whole country.
All this security is central to one idea: keeping Israel safe. And as Mickey would show me on our drive through Jerusalem, for the majority of Jews that populate Israel, The idea of having a safe homeland is essential to their survival as a people. Next to Judaism itself, security trumps everything here. And it's the reason why Jews worldwide move here by the tens of thousands every year for a safe homeland.
Leaving the old city, you can see the tourists over here. And if you just look to the right, then we can see the CCTV cameras over here, which are looking all the time. Okay, let me show you where we are. In front of us over here is all of Bethlehem, including the security fence just underneath us that we can see. So we're at a tremendously important, significant place in between Jerusalem and the Hebron area, making sure any insecurity-related incidents cannot take place inside Jerusalem.
There is no doubt that this security wall between Jerusalem and the Palestinian West Bank has led to serious hardships for Palestinians who have effectively been locked out of Israel and its economy. And of course, the wall has led to intense international scorn for the Israeli government. But since the Palestinian terror attacks between 2000 and 2003, for Jews, this wall is only about one thing: keeping Israel safe. And that is why Jews will never forget their history and what they are trying to protect.
It's almost 10 a.m. and I'm in downtown Jerusalem. And today is a very important day. And at 10 a.m. sharp, everything stops.
The Jewish people have often been persecuted, even killed for their beliefs. Every April on Yom HaShoah, the entire country of Israel stops for 2 minutes in the remembrance of the Holocaust, the brutal killing of over 6 million Jewish people by the Nazis in World War II. Between 1938 and 1945, it is estimated that over 50% of the world's Jewish population was murdered, and people here want to ensure that the Holocaust is never forgotten. The moment of silence and the remembrance of the millions of Jews killed is stitched into the fabric of society and remembered by the old and young alike.
So what happens with the box?
We want to leave it to the next generations, so the stories always remain. We realized that it would be good to leave a message to the future generations because they are the ones that are gonna be in charge of taking the message and always remembering, and also because now we have survivors, but in like 5 years, 10 years, they will be no more. And thank you so much.
But for Jews, they also know that they can't always live in the past, and their religion is very much about hope, peace, and the future. It is also about passing along their rituals and ways of life to the younger generation. And one of the most important ways they do that is through Judaism's weekly Shabbat, or Day of Rest. And I was about to meet some folks who would define what it means to be a true Orthodox Jewish family.
Shalom!
Shabbat shalom.
So far on my journey into the roots of Judaism, I've learned the true meaning of the Temple Mount to Jews worldwide. And I witnessed how the security of Israel and the remembrance of its past has been woven into the fabric of society here. But my last stop would be with young filmmaker Catherine, who was going to take me to a special Shabbat dinner.
One of my absolute favorite Jewish rituals is Shabbat, the Sabbath. It's where once a week you take a mini vacation. You let go of your phones, your computer, your car, and you just take time once a week to hang out with your family, talk to your friends, eat a delicious meal. I mean, how can you get better than that?
That's right. Starting at sundown on Friday until sundown on Saturday, all Jews take Shabbat, a day of rest as defined in the Jewish Bible.
Shalom! Shabbat shalom.
They start each Shabbat with a special family meal where it is customary that the females of the household light candles and then cover their eyes and make a blessing to God.
And on a Friday night, you light candles for the number of people in the household.
Okay, thank you so much.
Catherine, sit over here.
Then, the family will gather around the table and the father of the family leads in a set of hymns, including a blessing to the mothers of the family. Next, the father will individually pray for each of the children from oldest to youngest. This ritual is done to ensure that at least once a week, all family tensions are dealt with and that the family unit comes together through love.
And so it's a beautiful way to once a week, you've got a built-in method for bringing back family peace.
Next, it was time to break bread and drink wine.
God stopped creating, so you as a man have to stop creating on Shabbat. And you have to feel yourself equal to everything else in creation. You're just a creature, like a fly, right? Like a flower. So you can't kill a fly, you can't pick a flower. All the creations of God are equal. You can't think about business, right? You can't think about what you want to do tomorrow. It's a day all by itself. So since now is the time that we'd be kind of without electricity, without any modern technology, I guess now is probably the right time to turn the cameras off and get into the spirit of Shabbat.
The all-important and biblical ritual of Shabbat still tightly binds today's Jews to the ancient beginnings of Judaism itself. It hasn't changed in 3,500 years, nor has Jerusalem's role as this religion's holiest city. Jerusalem, the city of peace, the closest place between heaven and earth. And as Jews often say in a blessing while saying goodbye, Shalom, see you next year in Jerusalem.